And just like that, we umo gwegwe fighty zao ourselves into
It really is that simple, hey?
the podinal realm.
TriPod, I'm Ryan.
Hi, I'm Powys on the TriPod.
Hi everyone, my name's Jaaron and I'm a member of TriPod.
Nice. Yeah, I do not want to understate the joy that I feel that we actually remembered to intro the podcast off the bat.
I had the thought.
It only took like 14 episodes or whatever to actually think about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Put my name bar down, put my name bar down. That's an original, so
It is, yeah. Can't get Dickman for that.
can't get Dickminstered.
there's going to be a clone version of yourself that claims copyright on that.
Dude, how are they going to handle DCMOing when the clones come, dude?
When the I don't know if they thought that far ahead. I don't know if they took that into account when they wrote the law.
Clones and time travel.
Okay, if you said clones, that rhymes with thrones. So let's talk about Jones quick.
It's time for the weekly Thrones talk.
Thrones, actually, no. Before we get into Thrones, I actually wanted to ask you, Ryan, did you ever watch the Star Wars Attack of the Clones?
What, the movie?
The TV
No,
series?
the TV series.
Oh, Clone Wars.
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, I have not seen very much of it, but I've been intending to watch it for a really long time.
Because I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, like for a lot of people who've watched it, it's like their favorite Star Wars thing, bar none. So,
Wow.
Really? Like
so
more
yeah,
than
like
the original
glowing
movies?
reviews. It takes like apparently like a couple seasons for it to really ramp up, but then it's like 7 seasons overall, so you have plenty of time for it to be good. And then apparently it's great. So
I remember seeing ads for it on Teletoon back in the day.
yeah.
And it
Well,
just
it's
looked
like
sick. The animation style was so cool.
They for this new season of The Mandalorian, they tied in a bunch of stuff from that series. They brought on people who worked on that series, like all sorts of shit. So if people are really liking The Mandalorian and that quality Star Wars, it's birthed from the Clone Wars cartoon series. So,
Did you watch The Mandalorian, and did you like it if you did watch it?
yeah, I loved it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
They had enough source material, and they went 2 seasons over.
Dude, there's so much source material, and like it's about a universe, man. Like you can just invent new material. Like as long as you're not like totally screwing over previously established stuff, which I mean, some Star Wars has before, but
Wizards at Hogwarts used to eat their own shit.
yeah.
Like J.K. Rowling going in and
Right,
like,
yeah, pull a J.K. Rowling type
rewriting the
maneuver.
history of Harry Potter, or like she's like, well, it wasn't really established that they don't eat their own shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual literal thing she said, but there is
It was
stuff
something
like
like that?
where like
Yeah, like fucking. Actually, by the way, Hagrid was Wolfkin. He was a furry.
Hagrid was a furry. That makes so much sense.
You got to read between the
Never
lines
said
a little bit, but it was intended, and he is a furry. So
Crazy.
representation, it's important.
And Ryan, you broke the dam for me of our free folk.
Oh,
I knew that you'd be back on it.
Oh, dude, you re-broke it. I was just like in my bed, like, okay, this is the most fun I've had on Reddit in in an amount of time.
Oh, dude, they didn't forget.
Like some of the memes are so scathing.
that Parks and Rec one that you sent was funny.
For those who are the uninitiated tripodians, our free folk is a subreddit, which is a part of the popular website called Reddit over. And yeah, it's a place where people post memes that make fun of Game of Thrones and its ultimate shittiness, really. Is that fair to say, Rye?
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's a they just meme the show. It's like ironic memes coming from a place of love, but making fun of usually the stupid things. Oh, it absolutely is.
I think so.
It's scorned lovers is what they are, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, okay. I
like that. Scorned lovers.
I mean, yeah, that's what it is. Like, it's funny. I think I maybe even mentioned it last week on the pod, but I will just have like routine episodes of like Thrones, what it could be. I know I've said it 100 times on the pod, but one of the
100 times more.
One of the amazing memes from Free Folk was the like black dude who's like all amped in the top one and then sad in the second one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The amped one is season 1 having porn level freaking sex scenes, and then season 8 having porn level dialogue.
Yeah, that one's so good. That's so funny.
Good.
And like
That's pretty much yeah. That's it sums it up.
Really though, like I didn't realize. I mean, that's another thing is that like you get what you look for or whatever. Seek and you will find. Like I didn't realize how bad the later seasons were until I went on freefolk and got re-educated.
Yeah,
basically, because it was like. Jon Snow walking with freaking Sir Davos, like, oh, she has a good heart. And he's just like, oh, you've been staring a lot at her heart. And
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need is just like somebody to actually like get you to think about it for a second. You're like, oh, wait, no, that sucks.
Right? It was weak.
I was thinking about something similar the other day where sometimes I don't like to read reviews about things because it influences my opinion about what that thing is. Like sometimes I'll really enjoy something, and then if the reviews are overwhelmingly negative, I'm like, actually, you know what? I don't think I really like that much.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Like if I go in expecting that I should like something and then I don't, I'm like maybe trying to find things that I like in it.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like trying to find things you like in something is okay.
For sure. But I think it's more so when it goes the other way, where like I enjoy something and then.
Yeah, I mean, you can still definitely just enjoy. Like, there's things I enjoy that are not critically acclaimed or anything, but I think that the value in a lot of reviewing is contextualizing things that you might not have picked up on, or like putting things into better framing that maybe you didn't, or maybe somebody giving a more critical analysis of aspects that you're not as well equipped to analyze yourself. And like, if that doesn't change your opinion of something, that's fine. You can like anything. It's not a big deal. But like, it's just I look at it less as like it changing my opinion as in just following what people are saying about it, but giving you a better, like more information on how to form your own opinion. Right? Like people's opinions about things, I don't know. I enjoy hearing them. So I don't know. That might just be my bias towards the situation, but I generally speaking really like consuming reviews, or at least less reviews, more so analysis.
Right. And you brought up Thrones there, so allow me to
springboard.
Yeah, because I would jump on the Thrones subreddit after every episode from like, I don't know, season like 4 onward or whatever, on the Thrones subreddit, and there would be someone who like explained every shot,
right?
And
see, like that's super valuable content. Like that's super cool. I love stuff like that.
But that was always in a positive light versus like the pro wrestling ones are kind of not so. But I have my pro wrestling reviewers who are very patient,
right?
And I read them. The AV Club used to do reviews for like Raw and SmackDown, the WWE's episodic things, and they were like pretty much like they wouldn't really crap on stuff, but
unless it was crap,
like really crap, like they would be like, I think they might be going here with that. They're not going there. Come on, have some integrity. But they would be really pump up the big stuff.
Yeah,
maybe they were paid off. Like I think Dub's done that quite a bit, but it doesn't matter because I'm pretty sure AEW beat WWE in like the key demographic ratings. I'm pretty sure AEW's weekly show beat Monday Night Raw's freaking
Sting.
18 to 49-year-old males are starting to see the light.
Yeah, but so to jump off that though, so like the reason that AEW would be beating SmackDown and Raw though, I'm sure you would agree it's a quality thing, right?
Absolutely.
100%. And so like the substance being there, them having a better product that they're putting out, and that's getting them the recognition they deserve. Like consuming bad reviews about something like SmackDown Raw can push you in that direction and open you up to better quality things. Like you can, there's definitely a ton of really low quality stuff that you can enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with enjoying it, but like finding out that like, oh, this actually is pretty widely regarded as not the best of the genre or something, like, oh, well, what is? And then you maybe get pointed in the direction of AEW, haha, nice. Fucking there's a plug. Yeah, but you get pushed in the direction of AEW by kind of that idea, and then you're like, oh wow, dude, I found this way better thing because that's more, widely renowned as the better thing, and usually it is from a quality point of view. There's usually a reason things are poorly reviewed. Doesn't mean you can't like them, but usually it's because there's something better or there's a desire for something better.
You must use the hatred inside you.
Dude, okay, you got to weaponize it, all right? Well, actually, no, I want to take this back. I do not want anybody weaponizing hatred. I want to take that off the pod right now. This is not a hateful weapon podcast. We're not getting into that realm of the internet.
Useth your hate to guide you
to love.
To the love.
This podcast, it is and always has been anti-hate crime. Yes. It's I don't foresee that changing. I mean, never say never.
Crime.
Oh.
Never say never.
But
what? Yeah, I actually, Ryan, that's an amazing point that I love a lot. And cool. It took a lot of bad reviews for basically part of me thought pro wrestling was just going to die with the WWE because it was just so shit. But then at the same time, there was so many independent promotions that had so much verve and this stuff is alive, man. It won't die. It's too sick.
There's too much passion, right? There's too many people who love it.
There was no money into those cool niche independent things.
Right.
And now AEW's taken a flavor of that indie kind of style.
Right.
A little bit more of a finger on the pulse of what a modern fan wanted. And have packaged
consistent storytelling.
Yeah.
Just not changing everything every 2 weeks.
No plot holes, everything kind of makes sense.
And has meaning.
Wins and losses matter. Yes, it's predetermined.
So basic, but so sick.
It's still, they give it an air of legitimacy where you can buy in and kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Totally.
Which is the thing that's so cool for me about wrestling. Yeah. Is as a kid, you're suspending your disbelief because, pretty early, it was okay, this shit isn't real per se, but it's kind of I call it an athletic soap opera.
Indeed.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Yeah. It's drama and people doing crazy feats of athleticism.
Exactly.
Which is cool.
It's like the person holding the big belt that might look like the big gold belt over my left shoulder, camera right.
You don't say.
For our audio listeners, it's the World Heavyweight Championship. Duh.
WCW Championship. WWE culturally appropriated that title, changed the name, and then made it their own.
Honestly. But, basically, it's the title of, the top politicker / top athlete. It's a competition to get the belt. It's just not for fighting. It's not a fighting.
Right, yeah. The criteria for being number one has a lot more to do than your ability in the ring, perhaps.
It's kind of like show business in a sense.
Very much so.
I mean, it literally is.
It really, yeah.
Except they don't have a freaking union.
Oh, dude.
Do they not?
Oh my God. No.
Wow, that seems.
Do what I say.
That seems like something they would want.
Yeah.
In the rules of their contract, I think they're classified as independent contractors, but they're
that's lame.
It's lame.
John Oliver did a really cool piece on it.
Oh yeah,
and he dove in.
Oh, I don't think I saw that one.
On it. I think he's a wrestling fan.
He must have been with the references he was dropping.
Yeah,
he was like,
he has a whole team of researchers and writers, right? So there's definitely a few of them in there who probably spearheaded this one. Yeah.
Damn.
Might be him as well. Huh? Who knows?
If his team could make him seem as into wrestling as he was, if I ever go pro politics on Oliver's team, mark my words, come hang with Pow, because that was an absolute display. I was watching it crying. I didn't know this guy was in wrestling, bro.
Yeah, and maybe he is. What do I know?
The thing that made me think that he was that he also did a couple on the World Cup, soccer.
Yeah.
And the way that he talked about that was he's a fan. He said it explicitly in the pieces, but
nice.
He talked about it in a really cool way.
Totally. Well, I mean, let's just confirm it. It's confirmed. You heard it on TriPod. John Oliver is a wrestling fan. It's just
John Oliver is coming to take over Vince McMahon at AEW.
Have you guys ever seen that meme of those two blonde dudes that get the the like what, or like say the name of like whatever comes up on your forehead.
Yeah, the two really dumb guys.
Yeah, and it's like Da Vinci or whatever.
Yeah.
Jaaron and I watched those guys wrestle live.
Which
it's
guys?
the Voros twins.
Oh, really?
Oh, for real, hey?
They were in ECC Dub. I think they're in like maybe A Dub or like something close now.
That's fun.
But I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it was them.
A lot of people from the local Vancouver promotion get plucked to go to the pros.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I've heard it from you guys probably, because that's where everything to do with wrestling I've ever heard comes from you. Yeah.
There's this other guy, El Phantasmo dude, LP. I watched him at the Commodore Ballroom Brawl like 9 or something. Oh,
It's like a monster
dude.
truck rally.
Honestly,
Yeah, it sounds like it, yeah.
So sick. I was like, no way. They brawled out into the crowd. He did like a flip right by me onto this massive fat white dude. Ethan and I, my big brother and I, were just losing our minds. And now he's in New Japan. Like, he won some tournament. Now he's fighting in the same, like, one of the highest leagues on earth. And it's just crazy to be part of that come up, you know?
Boys, okay, here we go. Try hard.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no. I was going to derail your conversation, man. You guys are making good points. Do it.
Oh, well.
What was it, the Russian Community Center?
Yeah.
Just watching that live and just watching like the thuds. And just
Yeah, that's
watching
sick.
dudes crash out. Chirping some dude's grandma and ripping up her sign.
Oh, my God.
He was chirping. I think it was the dude he was wrestling, maybe. He was like making fun of his grandma. He's like talking shit to her. And then
Granny
like,
ain't
ripped up
safe, man.
Her sign or something. Incredible.
Wrestling.
Okay.
Life is pro wrestling.
Okay, here we go. TriHards 3-man tag team, all the way to the top, baby. We have a little ways to catch up in the physical department, so we're gonna have to like hard politic our way to the top. We got to be the most
just start
popular.
Juicing now. Sacrifice your testicles.
Yeah,
That's
a good plan.
Steroids. I mean,
don't they have steroids that don't shrink your balls anymore? They must.
Probably.
They must.
You plugged into the scene, Ryan? Well, one of my superpowers has been my lack of acne, and I'm not ready to sacrifice that.
Right. That's fair. That's fair.
Lacne,
dude. Lacne CCG.
Lack thereof,
the
knee.
3-man team idea, though.
That would be sweet.
I mean, like there's not really a 3-man tag team division, so we have to go like free bird New Day rule.
Dude, so that means like we already have like no competition. So we're already going to be like top 2 of the teams because there's just going to be like one other that joins. And then we at least get to be like the founders and Hall of Famers for that reason, basically.
We'll go against the Workaholics.
Yeah, there you go. There's a 3-man team. There's our comedy, but done better.
First mover advantage. Okay.
I would love to hear those guys on a podcast.
I bet you they have one, man.
They probably do. Everyone has a podcast.
It's a pretty easy format.
I don't.
Well, let's get them on here.
Oh my, that'd be a dream come true, actually.
Tweet at him.
Inspiration.
Let's get another one. Yeah, I think we could get them on the
Dude,
pod.
how about this? Always Sunny got renewed for 4 seasons.
What?
And next season, it will be the longest running sitcom ever.
Yeah. I'm a couple seasons behind on Sunny, but like, dude, it's so good. It's always good.
One of my favorite comedies I have to
It's in the TriHards Hall of Fame.
It has to be. But TriHards, Workaholics, Always Sunny in that order. Sorry, Always Sunny second. First? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
When it actually drops, which who knows when it will. Don't you know that we're making
It's dropped now in a parallel dimension.
Plandemic.
It won us Webbies or whatever the fuck. And
what's Weddy?
Webbies.
Webbies,
Absolute dunk.
Dude, okay, so we gotta make a plan of attack for us to just take over the podcast scene. We gotta be on every podcast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, Pal brought this up, and I'm that makes sense to me, man. Like, I don't know if we should just like split up and cover ground, or we should just like try and get the 3 of us all together going places, or like we got to just like feature on like fucking everybody's podcast. We got to feature on like what do you call it? The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. We're on everybody's podcast, you know, like just talking about all the bullshit.
As soon as we get on Rogan, dude, just call up fucking his dude. Yo, Jamie, pull that up.
It's true. That's true. Pull up the TriHards.
pull up the TriHards up.
But
Go on like all these spiritual pods, fucking dropping dick jokes.
I'll just start shit posting in like every live podcast in their Twitch chat. I'll just start shit posting. You know, no problem. They'll be like, okay, this shit poster, he's here every day. Either ban him or get him on the show, and I'll get banned. But
from one pod, there's so many. Like, if we can actually fuse, we are such a good fusion. We're a unique cocktail,
right?
And yeah, I think there are a lot of podcasts out there. I know like 2 homies that have pods. I'm dying to get on them. I mean, it would be cool to like plug the television or the web series. I still see TriHards, which is the web series that we kind of are trying to promote with this podcast, as my kind of main aim, and I would maybe want to time it for that. But
the longer we go with this, the more it feels like the secondary to me, and like I don't know, honestly, maybe that'll recalibrate once we actually get it out there. But
you're not wrong.
I mean, even so, like I'd be fine if that's how it ends up anyway. Like,
I mean,
yeah, as long as we're like making stuff, I'm cool with that.
We went from writing eps away from each other, meeting up and talking about the eps in the writer's room, filming them, watching them. Like, that was a lot of time spent on the web series versus now it's like link up and do the pod.
Yeah.
And don't write eps because we have kind of the idea for every ep for this season. I don't know if that's spoiler to say.
No.
Right.
But, so the prep is kind of, excuse me, Morty, been done. Kid's back on his bean game. Proteína, nitrita.
Okay, when Powys was explaining the changes that had happened in his diet, he's like, I don't know what happened, man. I was like, I used to be able to fart on command. He's like, that's how I knew I wasn't eating enough beans.
Honestly. And then I was in the living room and I let one go. And Jaaron was like, the kid's back. Absolutely. TriHardian level gag.
Man with the musical ass.
We're branching out from dick jokes into fart jokes, guys. Yeah. We're growing as comedians.
No, we did a 180.
We did a 360.
Literal. You were focused on the front bum, and now we remixed it. Now you're focused on the true ass.
The Audi front bum?
Farting out of your front bum, that just hurts different.
Ouch.
Bruh.
Sensation. But yeah, no, seriously, I'd love to go on. Anybody out there who knows somebody with a podcast?
Right, yeah. Ask us on.
Anywhere between
we'll probably
1
do
and
it.
3 shitheads on their show. Please link, outreach.
Dude, we can even we can cover like different ground, like you guys could go feature on like wrestling podcasts and shit,
Oh, that would be sick.
Come on.
That's what I'm saying, man. Conquer it.
And then we show up and we're WWE apologists. Ooh. And we're just like talking about how misunderstood they are, and then we get kicked off the show.
No, you're supposed to win their audience over, man.
Yeah. But I would love to find like the localist pod and be like, hey man, like I'm trying to promote a pod and my voice is really nice. So I come on your cast. I have hot takes such as I like Roman and Shawn Michaels. And I got a mean macho man. Oh yeah.
I don't know of any like prominent Vancouver pods. Maybe
I mean, like that's the beauty of the internet, though.
Right.
Is they could be anywhere.
Right.
True.
I know Powys into the whole, and I know Ryan is to support local, kind of grow that ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really done a lot of research into Vancouver-based content creators.
Yeah, I'm not
because
too
you're
familiar.
Vancouverite, and Vancouverites don't care about fucking Vancouverites; they care about them fucking selves.
But that's the weird thing about like internet content, though, right? Is that like it kind of supersedes locality because it's like everyone's all on the same plane that is the internet. Right. So like locality plays much less of a factor into it. Whereas like for something, like business or music scene or things like that, because you're going to be physically going to these things,
Right. And that's
producer Parr just says most of our listeners are in the United States. Welcome to the life of the Canadian content creator.
Yeah, actually though.
Well, yeah, it just makes sense, right? Like, because we're more so like a North American internet thing, right? Like that's kind of how the internet works. Right. And the huge majority of people in that regard are in America. So, we're always going to have to deal with probably a heavily American audience, which I mean is fine.
If you think about Canadian culture in terms of pop culture, it's very, very influenced by American pop culture. I would say.
Oh yeah,
like very
absolutely.
Like yes. Canadian pop culture doesn't really exist on its own, and
true.
Yeah,
and like as much, not as prominently anyway.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's pretty hard to break free of the American influence,
right?
In that regard, right?
I mean, I am of the ilk of the thought line that like, people in Vancouver, they're trying to make stuff.
Yeah.
Like everyone I know has fucking 2 Instagrams or maybe 3.
Yeah.
And they've got a freaking, a podcast or a freaking clothing line or a thrift shop or a bead company or a freaking bee company. Shout out to Corbicula. And there's just like,
oh dude, I don't know if the message made it to you, but I was asked which episode of the podcast you shouted them out before, and I could not remember.
Oh dude, that was episode 6, Revenge of the Sith. No, I actually don't remember which one it was.
Yeah,
but,
I didn't either.
Let's just make it episode 15. Is that this one?
This is 14.
There you go.
14. Yo, Corbicula's so legit. I made them a jingle. I don't know if it's ever going to come out.
Nice.
I like it a lot. I
can't release it because of COVID.
Don't know. I don't know.
Can't release it because of DMCA.
Say, like, I did want to mention this on the pod that if there anybody out there that wants a jingle made, reach out to your boy.
Nice.
I'm trying to jingle your bells.
Taking the Ryan TriHard route here. I'm into it. I'm into it.
As a jingle writer, I was just like, I just wrote jingles and got some of the biggest pops I ever got, because I noticed when I did my little 2 weeks on Reddit freestyling that like, shocker, people love it when you freestyle about them.
Yeah, for sure. Make it personal, right?
For sure.
And even in history, like thinking back at my like epic freestyles that have popped the rooms and like made people excited and shit, I'm usually just talking about what happened that day or what's going on at the time, and people are like, how did you whip that into your rhymes, dude? It's like, I'm looking at it, bro.
Yeah.
But like, you go off the beaten path, it's like, this isn't about me. What? Don't you know this is Vancouver?
Yeah.
I flake. Just ripping on Van. No,
that's probably the same everywhere.
Vancouver's great. I can't say because I don't.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you don't really know anywhere else.
People do flake in Van.
It's a stereotype.
Yeah, I think so.
It's pretty hard to verify, right? It's a confirmation bias kind of thing. Anytime you ever witness someone flake, you're like, oh, Vancouver, at it again.
I guess that's
right.
True.
Like, it's one of those things. It's just like it just gets permeated, or permeated. It's not the right word. Perpetuated.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's true. I think that it's convenient to dismiss it as a Vancouver thing when I think it's more a person thing.
Yeah.
It's like a person being flaky is like a person being flaky.
That's
I think that should exist everywhere. I think that like when I think of flaky, I think of either dating or like socializing.
Right.
And I think because of the accessibility of dating, and also, well, not right now, but when you have like, I guess, access or the ability to have multiple commitments, I noticed there's a lot of like, wait until the last minute to confirm whether you're going to go to an event just in case something better comes up.
Right.
I think I've seen that mentality definitely kind of, it persists in the dating culture a little bit, at least in my experience.
Yeah. I think you're hitting on an important thing with that though, that the accessibility of everything, right? Like it's way more opportunity for all these things than it would have been in the past, just for ease of communication and stuff like that, right? So there's way more opportunity to flake on things because there's just so many more instances of these social interactions because you're always socially connected, right? Whereas in the past it was probably way less social interactions, so you probably like are way less like burnt out on them and stuff like this, right? You're less likely to flake because you have less things going on.
True that.
Right? Like,
and because your parents had to drive you.
Right, well that's an age thing. Yeah. That's certainly fair.
Because I wasn't flaking in fucking 05 to
Oh no, well yeah, no. When you're a kid, you generally don't, right? Like you make plans and you get way too excited about them and stick to them no matter what, right? Yeah.
We're going on a double date to the mall. Yo, can I get $40?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Double date.
Don't tell them it's a double date though.
Right.
Otherwise you have to marry him.
You guys want to hang or what? Like, if you and her hung out and it was me and him, that'd be sick. Like, what about me and her? What about me and him then? Oh. Jesus. Carnal Children Award. But yeah,
Carnal Children Award?
moving on.
Let's just move right on from that one.
It's not that bad if you're talking about yourself.
True.
Powys Harrison Jones on episode 14 of the TriPod, the Child Sex Award.
Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and hide my identity real quick. It's not me. Yeah, so I wanted to say, that flake. That flake thing is also kind of a person-to-person thing, right? Like sometimes
of course.
It's like not the world's highest quality person going to flake, and I've done it. Whatever.
Everybody has.
Yeah,
everybody has.
If you say you have in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I can chalk it up to the film game. I can chalk it up to the COVID game now. Like, oh, COVID got a little worse.
I mean, I think it's just like it's something that's going to happen because everyone has so many more of these things they have to respond to one way or the other. You're going to get flaked on and try not to take it personally because 9 times out of 10, it's not personal.
Right.
So that's about it.
Even if you have I have an appointment.
Yeah, I mean, you can make up better reasons, I guess, right? Like
recticitis removed.
Yeah, I feel like most of the time, if somebody was like flaking on me for some reason and they just said straight up, like, I just don't really feel like it, I probably wouldn't hold it against them.
Definitely.
Or at least maybe that's just something I'd like to say about myself. Maybe I would. Who knows? But
one thing
I try not to. Try not to. One
thing that I've started to employ, not that I've dated much in the last year and change, but when what? I mean, as kind of a flex, I guess. To some people, it might not be, but I give the person the opportunity that if they're not interested, I lay it on the table early on, like, yo, I don't say it like I guess explicitly, where like, if you're not interested, just let me down easy and just tell me you're not interested. But I'll say like I hate when people just ghost. Or getting strung along, like I just set that expectation, and that gives the person the, I guess, license to be like, "Hey, I'm not interested," or maybe they understand that that's like, not I guess an expectation, or at least an expectation of somebody that like will treat me with respect. That like, hey, if you're not down, I'm not going to take this shit personally. I'd rather know where I stand with a person than get ghosted. And then live in that torture of, is that person into me? Do they like me? And then trying to convince yourself of times where it's like, oh, they said that thing, so I think that they're into me, but like, oh, they haven't messaged in that long. And just hearing me talk just there makes me realize like how much my brain spins out of control in those moments. I'm like, please just save me the fucking mental torture.
Wow. Yeah.
Someone's looking for the one over here. Am I right? Jeez.
Ted Mosby got into my brain early. I mean, kind of alluded to it earlier, but I think this is the first time in my life where I'm single by choice and happy about it. Not single despite wanting to be not single. And watching that show makes me like, should I try and find the one right now? Should I try and find love now? Like, am I lonely?
So Jaaron's confirming that he's not an
I think
incel.
I'm lonely.
Well, Jaaron confirms his non-inceldom.
Dude, being single's hard, man.
It's
hard when you look so good and the ladies are just a wanton.
I mean,
Did he just whip out his dyscalculia?
Lady, slide into my dyscalculia.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a crazy like mix of like, you know, yeah, be freaking. I'm in my longest fucking single period since since time, and I suppose it's my choice. I guess I could technically date someone shitty.
Yeah. I mean, like it's always really your choice at the end of the day. Like I'm sure most people could find, you know, somebody. Might not be somebody they're particularly interested in, but
right.
That's been the downfall of Jer for a long time in my dating career. Was dating for the sake of dating, so I wouldn't be, so I could be less uncomfortable, I guess.
Yeah.
Got me into some not so good relationships, or relationships that I stayed in longer than I should have.
Can't relate. Can't do it.
Honestly, I think my relationship with dating is really a mask for my crippling fear of loneliness.
That's the human condition, I think.
I think that's that's
pretty common.
Human shit right there.
Like seriously, like I remember like fucking we were, you know, I don't know, we did like some fear exercise in like grade 5, like, or whatever.
You guys were going deep in grade 5, shit.
Dude, yeah, we did some fucking learning in grade 5, man.
No doubt.
Actually, grade 5 was a huge learning year for me too, but sorry, continue.
Anyway, we'll get back to that. But yeah, I was like, what's your biggest fear? I'm like, I'm not really, like, spiders kind of, but there's like a huge spider behind my freezer, and like we chill. Like being like boars attacking me, but like I wrote like, yeah, being alone is my greatest fear.
Whoa.
And just really lived up to the billing, having, you know, companion after companion for prolonged periods of time from like that age to fucking this one. And I was just like, yo, fuck, even, excuse my language, even when my last girl left me, I was like, some other girl approached or came into my life quickly after. I know we're getting real with this shit.
Yeah.
We've
all been there.
Approached me afterward pretty quickly, and I was like, yes, I'm fucking saved, man.
Right.
Like, I was like, yo, what the fuck? Am I even broken over this fucking absolute wife that I just lost? Or am I just like hurting to get fucking skin on skin contact here? Like, who the fuck am I? Like, what the fuck? Excuse my language. But yeah, it's, what's that line? It's like, marry a good person and be happy, marry a bad one and become a philosopher. I don't think mine was bad, but I went down a fucking path of philosophe after freaking, you know, my breakup that was like a month away from being 3 years ago now, if I'm doing the math. I don't fucking know.
It was a good time for it.
Here?
2, I think.
But no, dude. I think it was this like October. Oh, it's way past. So yeah, just 2. It's been 2. Sorry, I thought we were in the fucking next year. Next year, it'll be 3. But
well, because I remember it happened at the time where Botsy and I were living together at the previous spot.
Right.
And we moved from there. We moved in there in like November 2018.
Right.
And then
I moved in shortly after.
We moved into this place May 2019-ish.
Yeah.
We've been here almost 2 years.
Holy shit.
How and I roommates with the third quiet boy. Yeah.
Mr. Van Boss. But yeah, it's cool to, you know, try to flex on being alone. That's my new challenge is like, yo,
yeah, that's good, man.
By myself.
That's good. I feel like I'm kind of lucky in that department. I'm pretty good at that. I've never really had trouble with it. Like I can just kind of, pretty used to spending most of my time alone, and I'm cool with it.
I think one of the nice things about living here and having 2 roommates that I'm like close with is that I've been able to carve out my alone time and like the comfort in being alone, but knowing that there's people around pretty regularly helped me.
Yeah, that's nice.
With that transition. And I find myself now, I've kind of gone a little bit in the other direction where I'm like, do I need people? I'm like, I also don't want to become like a hermit. You know what I mean? And like, not a hermit, but just like, I don't want to become like what's the word? Like a recluse.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be so guarded with my emotions that I don't let people in now.
Right.
Where I think before I kind of let everybody in, and now I'm like, the walls are up.
Yeah.
And so I'm like trying to find that balance between the two, where it's like, I guess it's healthy boundaries if you want to get psychological about it, where it's like understanding where your limits are and then not letting others cross them, but then also not allowing others to cross them.
And I think if you know, even with a friendship or a significant person, like they come into your life and it's all good, and you got butterflies and they fucking treat you good and you treat them good, and you can offer each other shit. Yeah,
and it's good to set boundaries. Like it's important for you to tell Powys like not to wear your underpants, because it's totally possible that he just will, because that's just that's how the man rolls.
Okay.
He claims their underpants for donation, but nobody donates their underpants.
If you leave it in the dryer for more than an hour, it's fair game. All right?
That's how I got my whole collection.
Straight. And besides, Jaaron and I exclusively wear edible underwear, so it's hard to share.
Yeah.
Why do you think I've been doing yoga, dude? I have a craving for my own underwear.
Eddie's. Marijuana-infused edible underwear.
I'm sure that exists, man. I'm sure that exists now. If it doesn't, we gotta get on that ASAP.
What are we calling it? We Undies Magnum Chronic Infused.
We gotta come up with a clever name.
Green Undies.
Yeah.
Green Undies. I don't
Satitty.
know. I guess
Bra.
Satitty for the bra.
There's something there. There's something there.
Indica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Penis joke pal. Nice to meet you. What's up, Seattle? Make some noise if you're from the U to the S to the A.
Yeah, now that we have this fact, we're gonna just cater hard to American audiences.
Let me tell you something.
We basically live in a suburb of Seattle. Yeah.
We live in mini Portland.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, dude. We represent the Seahawks hard.
Hard pass on that. When that Kraken comes, you best believe I'm not going to be down. I'm going to be down with having a team so close. But
yeah, that's cool.
These are my boys. Sorry, Seattle.
Fair point.
Notice how he's got the respectful logo and not that blasphemous one.
What's the blasphemous one?
The one that we're trying to get rid of, apparently.
No one's trying to get rid of that one.
That's a tricky one.
That is a tricky
I don't think
one.
anyone's trying to get rid of that one.
They were talking about it, I think, because like Holtby is the guy who just signed with the Canucks. Goalie got a mask of like a Haida style, like Thunderbird.
Right.
But the people that got upset were because it was commissioned by a Swedish artist.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem, is that he basically appropriated it without involving anybody who was relevant to that culture, right? Like I don't think they would have a problem with it if he'd commissioned, a culturally appropriate artist to do that, right? That'd be fine, right? Because that's, just supporting and appreciating the culture as opposed to just using it as an aesthetic. Right. That's the problem.
When I started to hear the backlash about the current Canucks logo, which has been the logo since like the late 90s, my immediate thought was like, who did the artwork?
Right.
Because if it wasn't done by an indigenous artist, then I could see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Right.
In a way.
Yeah. I mean, that's the voices that matter on the subject, right?
Yeah. Like the cultural appropriation thing is a tricky one, I think, because I think if it's done rooted in respect, it's definitely more defendable, but then it gets into a tricky area.
But it depends on what your bar for respect is in that case, right? Because you can like Holtby, I'm sure had nothing but respect in mind when he did that, right? But with a bit of a lack of judgment, we'll say, or a lack. Whatever, sure, lack in judgment. In that particular situation, he went with Swedish artist who was pretty well established to do what was a pretty good job on it, right? Like it looks good and everything, but there's a lack of respect in there, not by intention, but just by like a not enough thought into the matter, right? So that's a point where someone could say, well, he had respectful intentions. That's the important part, but like, well, is it though? Right? There's more to it than that,
right? And one of the things that I've been hearing from people that are kind of pushing against the people calling cultural appropriation and calling for changes with all of this stuff,
right,
is that well, why wasn't it a problem before? Why?
That's how things work.
That's the thing, right? It's like everyone's like, oh, you're just springboarding off what happened with Holtby, but I'm like, it's kind of drawn into light, and it's like,
better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, right? Like times change as well, right? Like in the mainstream, these things are becoming more apparent and more widely agreed upon by the as to use the same word, the mainstream. Like the I don't know, less more. I'm sure we all understand what I'm saying.
I don't.
It just because it's more in the mainstream zeitgeist, right? That that's a more recognized thing now. We understand that cultural appropriation is more of a thing, whereas plenty of these disenfranchised communities have been talking about this for a long time. Right. They've just been less listened to.
Right.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a better way for me to say it instead of stumbling on my words for a solid minute.
But you're trying to formulate some thoughts.
Yeah.
What happens sometimes.
So I've got a question.
Right.
I got this piece of artwork outside Funky's one time.
Yeah.
By an Indigenous dude. I guess we'll just give him the shout out because he signed it. Jim Jules. He seemed to be of no home at the time, and I bought it for 20 bone, and then I showed it to a friend of mine who is deeply entrenched in the Indigenous community since 11 years old. The whole time I've known this person. They've been participating in Indigenous cultural events, doing dances at the frickin' school with all the Indigenous kids. And then this person said to me, Powys, you paid $20 for that? I could have scratched that for you in fucking 5 minutes for free, bro.
But I mean, at the end of the day,
whatever.
It's more so you're just supporting a dude in that moment.
I don't know. Guy made you a piece of art. You paid for it. That's a good thing.
I think so too.
Because I wanted to see if there was a parallel there with me and all my offensive accents I do.
Right.
Because they are out of love. And
yeah, but the issue with that is it's caricature. It's reducing a culture of people to a joke, right? There's ways to make jokes about, groups of people or cultures or things like this where they are not what's being laughed at, right? But when you're just doing a funny accent, it's a caricature of a way an entire group of people speak. That's where it becomes offensive. It's not always going to be the case. It also depends what you're saying, the context you're saying it in, right? It's not just, cut and dry. But usually that's where you're going to run into problems, right? That's why people don't like it.
Right. I stick to soccer commentator when I'm doing if I'm doing
Spanish
Mexican, Spanish.
And
Spain Spanish.
As long as I think for the most part, as long as you're not just being a total dick, I don't think you're really bothering anybody. Right. But it's totally understandable if somebody were to be upset by that, why they were upset by that. You can't really argue, oh, I didn't mean to be offensive. Right,
example,
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Right, a lot of people to just kind of take this argument to 11. Right, a lot of people would argue that language is just all that matters is your intention behind it. So, white dude says the N-word. He's not trying to be offensive. Doesn't really matter if he's not trying to be offensive. He was. Right. That's a very clear example. What you've said is much more nuanced to it, but that's where people are coming from. And that's fair.
How could I have such an accent if I didn't listen to that much Mexican Spanish
commentary? Sure, right, and that's your background and your justification, and what you say, it's coming from a place of love, and that's part of the conversation there. But
I think one of the tricky things it is just a tricky thing in general, but with a group of people that has been historically very disenfranchised, there's a lot of pain there.
Exactly.
And so when you say something and you touch a wound that's been opened over and over and over again, and it's never really healed.
Right.
Especially with an Indigenous community where You know,
They've
we're
been
living on stolen land.
Well, they're still disenfranchised.
Exactly.
Like it's
Like,
still happening.
The thing that I think of when I hear of these things is like, yeah, changing a Thunderbird mask is great, but I think people want to affect change in a situation that seems so dire sometimes, and changing a mask is something that you can get done right then.
Oh yeah.
Dealing with problems like people getting put on a reservation and not having access to clean drinking water in some places, or having access to healthcare or social programs things like that.
You can put a pipeline through native land, but can't take water to native land, ladies and gentlemen.
And so that's where it becomes tricky, I think, because changing a mask is great, and that's what's going to get all the news,
right?
But
yeah, but I mean, to that, it's a pourquoi no lay dose. So like, we can do both. You can change Holtby's mask and also try and affect. I don't know, man. I was doing the meme. You remember the old El Paso little girl in the commercial? Yeah. Sorry. There we go. Right. Like I've just thrown all my credibility out the fucking window.
Yeah, dude. And
the only white guy on the podcast goes on a racist tirade.
Come on. Now we're really going to get American viewers.
Yeah, but like
USA.
You can definitely do both, right? Like there's no reason we can't walk and chew gum at the same time in a regard like that, right? So
that's true.
You know,
I guess
it doesn't take anything away from the argument that we should be giving everybody in this country clean drinking water no matter their race. It doesn't take anything away from that to say like, well, we can also, do some better jobs in social representation and things like logos and team identities and things like that.
That's true. I guess I have a tendency to like be like, oh, well, like they're so much bigger and not.
Yeah. And there always is, right? There always will be.
Right.
Right. But that doesn't mean we can't get little stuff done too.
Right.
I took a class on what was it? Labor Studies 307. Unfree labor and human trafficking. Class. And they talked about the concept of like best practices, like what's the best way to solve the problem, and they just say anything that gets you closer to the solution is good. Not fucking waste our time
reductive
saying fucking don't do the mask, do the water. Oh, the water, do the fucking roads. The roads, get them. Don't erase their culture. Just like, okay, you did that, sick. Can we do something else too? Like, pourquoi not les dos? It's not racist if I say it.
Yeah. You just got to be a little bit less white than me, then it's okay. And for the viewers, I'd like to make that note. He is only a little bit less white than me, okay? This guy's half.
Stats.
I mean, I do like that line of thinking in a way where it's like, I'm kind of likening it to trying to form new habits in my life right now. Mm-hmm. I have a tendency to be a perfectionist, whereas like, if I don't have the perfect workout routine right away on the first day, I'm overthinking what the thing would be. I've allowed myself 2 weeks of getting in and getting the reps in and doing it regularly. And now I've gotten to a point where I can start to make adjustments.
That's good.
Because now I have a little bit of momentum.
Right.
Where it's like tweak things here, tweak things there.
Yeah, that's good for sure.
Kind of
that's a good way to go.
I do like that. That does make a lot of sense because, I do have a tendency.
You gotta find your
There's so much going on, but like, what about what's going on over here? And what about what's going on over there?
Right.
It's like, it feels like there's so much going on that you could devote your attention to. It's almost like, where do you devote your attention to?
Yeah, well, exactly, right? Then it becomes a point where you don't actually do anything at all.
Exactly.
Right? Because if you spread yourself too far throughout these things, then like, well, you're not actually doing anything for any of these causes, right? So, it's okay to do little things while still supporting a bigger thing without directly doing something that very minute. Right.
Yeah, I guess,
I like that principle of
So a couple podcasts ago, I said that this podcast was based and uncucked, but we've unfortunately gone full cuck now. So this is some SJW.
What does that mean? I don't know. I have no idea.
It's just it's alt-right memery, right? Like it's fucking based and uncucked is like, social justice warriors, people who care about each other are fucking cucks, and
Then I am a straight cuck.
Oh, dude,
I care about people.
I was being ironic. We're full cucked.
I do. I guess I do. But I care about number one, baby.
Nothing wrong with that. Jesus. Producer Par is taking some clips right now.
Don't care about anyone else but me.
Yeah, so do we end the podcast before Powys gets his DMCA'd, or that I cuck us further?
Yeah. Honestly. I'm not
TriPod. See you next week. See you next week. See you next week. See you next week.